Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening and watching another episode of the Football Betting Podcast with myself, Tom Pipkin, my co-host, Tom Walker, and it is Thursday night, the 14th of December. We're back for another podcast full of football betting action. We're going to look through the Premier League, the Championship, League One and League Two. As ever, we're going to pick out our betting highlights across all of the leagues to help you get some winners on your accumulators this weekend. How are you doing, Tom?
Yeah, doing great. Thank you, mate. This show, of course, is sponsored as ever by Quiff. You can get a surprise bet if you sign up to Quiff using the link in the description and the release of this podcast on our Twitter page, T_FB podcast. I'm good, mate. I'm feeling festive. I'm kind of embarrassed by my background because you've got an absolutely bloody glowing tree. Doing wonders for your skin, mate. This is.
That's just the moisturizing, mate, not the tree.
It's phenomenal. But yeah, feeling good. Obviously, we're coming into the hashtag thick and fast season. So yeah, really excited to get going.
We are, yeah. Christmas period is upon us. We were stung by another postponement in the treble last week. So once again, the treble was knocked down to a double, which unfortunately was cost by our own team, Nottingham Forest, managing to pull a result out against Wolves. But we'll go into that in a little bit more detail at the end of the show. But yeah, hopefully we'll get back on the winner's trail with the trebles this week. But let's go straight into the tips then, shall we? All the odds we're going to read out on the show today are taken from our sponsors at Quiff. Once again, check them out at quiff.com and you can get a bet £10, get £30 surprise bet. Friday night, speaking about Forest just then, we are Friday night at home to Spurs under the lights at the City Ground. 4.2 for Forest, 3.9 the draw, and 1.64 for Spurs. I personally quite like Spurs here. 1.64 is a little bit short for me, but I think that they'll win. They're just going to have too much quality to win. I think Cooper will probably go the back five at home with the mentality of not to lose and maybe nick one on the break and then hold on. But against this Spurs side, the way they play, the players they've got in form at the moment, Son, Brennan Johnson coming back to the City Ground, I think it's probably inevitable he'll play some part in it. I think Spurs will win this game. I don't think it'll be massively high scoring, but Spurs are maybe under 3.5.
Yeah, I'm not massively in love with either, to be honest with you. I just noticed, by the way, that the referee is Australian. I wonder if he's going to give Ange any special treatment for this weekend. Anyway, yeah, I don't trust Forest at all, and I'll be honest with you, Tom. I don't trust Tottenham 100% yet. I know they've had a couple of decent results, but they're still completely ravaged by injury. A couple have come back. Romero is probably the key one that does make a big difference. But yeah, I'm going to sit this one out and suffer as a fan, I think.
Okay, fair enough. We've got 4 3 o'clocks then on Saturday. If we move to those, kicking us off, we've got a couple. Man City against Crystal Palace. Man City at home, 1.15, very short as you'd expect. Then Chelsea, a 1.2 against Sheffield United. Sheffield United priced at 8.5 now under Chris Wilder. Any betting action in either of those two games for you?
No, not really. I think it's going to be pretty obvious stuff. Seems like Roy Hodgson's on his way out at Palace, right? Man City will get back to winning ways and wipe the floor with them, and Sheffield United might be spirited, and there's more of a chance of an upset there for sure because Chelsea aren't exactly firing on all cylinders, but they've got the quality to win. I mean, I immediately, when I saw the fixture list, Tom, I was drawn to Bournemouth Luton, and I was hoping that we could get some good odds on Bournemouth. 1.44 for the Cherries. I know they've been better recently, and Luton have lost 6 of 8 on the road, but bloody, I can't go anywhere near that.
I know. No, I completely agree. Fulham, we may be able to get a bit of juice out of, though. They're 3.5 away at Newcastle, so maybe something from a Fulham persuasion is definitely of interest to me. And whether that's Fulham to win outright, they're 3.5. Fulham on the double chance is 1.82. But Fulham are a team in fantastic form at the moment. I appreciate that form is mainly coming at home, but they've had 2 back-to-back 5-0 wins against West Ham and Forest. Prior to that, went down 4-3 to Liverpool at Anfield when they really should have won because they conceded 2 late goals there to lose. And then a 3-2 win against Wolves before that. So that's 16 goals scored in their last 4 matches in the league, which is fantastic going. Raul Jimenez finally seems to be showing signs that he's getting back to what we know he can be, which is great to see. And I just think with the form they're in, the confidence they've got, the goals they're scoring, going to St. James's Park is never easy, but it could be a good time to play Newcastle at the moment, who are still struggling with injuries, looking very leggy, out of European competition in midweek, having lost to Milan. I think this is a good time to play Newcastle, and Fulham in some form could well take advantage here, whether it's Fulham to score a couple of goals, like I say, double chance, or even Fulham on the nose.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from here. I'm more drawn to the Everton game. I know they're nowhere near the same price. Everton are even money, but they go away at Burlington in the later kickoff. And
Go where?
Sorry?
Go where? Burlington?
Oh, bloody! Sorry, that's like a mix of Burnley and Everton.
Where's Burlington?
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Everton go away to Burnley, and I think that is a better price and a better bet. So yeah, I didn't quite realise Everton have won 3 consecutive matches away from home and tough places to go. I think West Ham, Palace, and Forest. So I would say they're all tougher assignments than going to Turf Moor. I know Burnley have drawn away at Brighton. They were 1 mistake away from getting something at Wolves, but ultimately they did make that mistake and lost. And of course, they won that 5-0 showdown against Sheffield United. But I'm not really reading too much into that. To me, this is a team that's still lost 7 of 8 at home, even if they have improved slightly. Obviously, it's Daishi coming back to Turf Moor. That's the big story here. But yeah, Everton quietly going about it, and I don't think enough is being made of the fact that they've also kept 3 clean sheets consecutively as well. So Everton in great nick at the moment, going to the team with the worst home record in the league. So yeah, I'm going to gobble up that even money for the Toffees.
Yeah, I do like it. Liking the Bournemouth Fulham double chance Everton on the Saturday. Big fan of that.
Yeah.
Moving into Sunday, then we've got the standard bunch of 2:00 kickoffs on Sunday. We'll have a look at Brentford Villa first. Anything that you like the look of in that particular game?
I'm going to side with Villa. I know on the road they've been less impressive. So they've played 8, they've won 3, drew 2, and lost 3. But I'm ready to back them. Brentford, of course, currently ravaged by injury, coming off a 1-0 defeat away at Sheffield United. They're going to be fired up for this game and looking to get back to winning ways. But right now, they just don't have anyone capable of going forward, really. Mbeumo, who's been one of the best players in the league this season, I think, personally. Injured, record signing Kevin Schade. Injured, of course, we all know about Ivan Toney. Neil Maupay, nowhere near the level. And sorry, Johan Visser as well, a player I'm a big fan of, also injured. And, we're seeing players shoehorned into positions that they're just not comfortable playing. And that's just not what you need against an Aston Villa side that, have won 3 of their last 6, unbeaten in that time. Brentford haven't lost to Villa in the last 5 encounters at home. So a little bit of a curse to get over there for Villa, but I'm very confident, and we're still getting even money for Villa. So yeah, I'm going to snap that up all day.
Okay, cool. I'm going to go to Arsenal against Brighton. It's what we tip out every single week for Brighton. It keeps happening. We keep on doing it. 1.7 is the price for both teams to score in this particular match. 20 consecutive Premier League games now that Brighton have been involved in both teams to score matches. It's a fantastic run and quite incredible stat. Just got to keep rolling with it. And at 1.7, I thought it would be a lot shorter, to be honest, this weekend. Arsenal haven't exactly been foolproof in defence. They've only kept one clean sheet in their last 6 games in the league. And at home this season, we've already seen, even though they are picking up lots of points at the Emirates, they've conceded against the likes of Wolves, Burnley, Forest, Fulham, Man U, Spurs. So they're winning, but they are also conceding as well, and winning games kind of 2-1, 3-1. A couple of score draws in there. But yeah, don't care about the result. I think both teams will get on the score sheet once again.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to dive into West Ham Wolves. I'm going to tip unders. So under 2.5 goals, which is 1.9. It's actually the same price for overs as well. So I think, the bookies are obviously pretty split on how this one's going to go. But yeah, when you look at West Ham and Wolves, they are pretty much in mid-table for goals for, and then goals against as well. West Ham a little poorer defensive record than Wolves, but both pretty much middle packers here. And I just, in terms of the eye test and the vibe and everything, I don't think Wolves are that capable of scoring many goals. In their last 6, they've only scored more than one once. And then West Ham, they are very hard to put your finger on, really. Some games they're capable of scoring and some games they aren't. They're obviously also kind of playing without a recognised striker at the moment. They're kind of playing Jarrod Bowen down the middle, and I think he's doing an amazing job with 9 goals in 15 games. But, if it's not him or Mohamed Kudus, I wonder where the goals are going to come from. So, yeah, I'm going to go for under 2.5 for that one.
Okay, and finally then on Sunday, we've got Liverpool against Manchester United. Wow, this one could potentially get very ugly from a Manchester United perspective. They don't generally have a good record against Liverpool recently anyway. Just to read out the last 5 fixtures between the two sides, very Liverpool goal heavy. So we've had a 4-2 to Liverpool, a 5-0 for Liverpool, followed by a 4-0 for Liverpool, a 2-1 win for Man United, and the big 7-0 victory last season at Anfield in this fixture for Liverpool. So, yeah, Liverpool are priced at 1.26 for a reason. They are very short. I don't quite know what to tip out here unless you think there's going to be some kind of upset. I don't. I think Liverpool will win. Maybe the handicap market is where you want to look because, they're too short just on the nose at 1.26.
Yeah, for sure. It's really hard to go down the route, isn't it, of results and all that kind of stuff. It's so heavily in Liverpool's favour, and I do get it. I think that the price is a little harsh. I'd love to get a little bit more value on Liverpool, but yeah, this is a team that's pretty much immaculate at home, and as you said, Tom, got the historics, and they're more than capable of putting 3 or 4 past United. Make no mistake.
Absolutely. Okay, so that wraps up the Premier League. We'll go straight into the Championship. And I've got to be honest, the Championship, as I was looking through it this week, it's not really the one for me in terms of betting. It kicks off with a cracker, the Old Farm Derby. First one for about 5 years. Ipswich at home to Norwich. And then it just turns into a bit of a dud, personally. I think we've got to look at Ipswich Norwich whilst we're speaking about it. I think once again, it's interesting because to read you the stats, Norwich haven't lost the last 12 games between the two sides. It's been 20 consecutive games since they kept a clean sheet against Norwich. So for me, I think both teams to score is is a shoo-in. That price is 1.6. We've got the historicals there. The fact it's a derby, the fact that games at Portman Road this season in the Championship have been full of goals. 7 of the last 8 games have seen Ipswich win and both teams to score. If you think it's going to be the same again, the price is 2.55. But for me, because it's a derby and I know Ipswich are really good, you never know what's going to happen. Both teams to score as a safe play at 1.6, and that's where I'm going to be going here.
I don't mean to go forward before we go backwards again, but I'm going to quickly hop into Sunday just because I want to talk about it as one of the stronger tips. It's West Brom against Stoke. No idea why this is on Sunday, but it is.
Rocky game.
Back in West Brom at 1.75. If you didn't see the news in midweek, Alex Neil was dismissed at Stoke City. Paul Gallagher, you may remember his interesting penalty technique for Preston mainly. The Scotsman, he'll take temporary charge. And West Brom, one of the stories of the season, I think, going quite under the radar. They're in 5th, they're in a playoff spot. They're going through some potential ownership changes at the moment. There's a lot of concern about extra loans coming out of the club. The owner borrowing against the club, can he pay it back, etc., etc. It's a mess. But on the pitch, Carlos Corberán has got the team going. It's built on a strong defence. I just don't see Stoke, who are pretty much just like a rotting corpse of a club at the moment. I don't see them doing anything. They haven't won their last 7. Losing 4 in a row before they drew in midweek at home to Swansea in front of what must be a record low crowd at the Britannia for, in the last maybe 5-10 years. It was absolutely incredibly low. And the club is just kind of drifting away once again. So let's capitalize 1.75, all things considered. It's not bad for the Baggies. No,
not at all. I agree. Again, because I'm not enamoured by a hell of a lot else. I was flirting with Leeds. They are short, as you'd expect, for Leeds at 1.46. And I appreciate Coventry have definitely started to pick up in recent weeks, but their away form does worry me. They've lost 4 of the last 5 away games. Leeds, very good at home. They've won 7 consecutive Championship games at Ellen Road. So, as you'd expect, very strong there. And at 1.46, we could see Leeds get an 8th win on the road here, but I don't expect it to be comfortable if they do get it.
Yeah, I'd love to jump towards Monday night, I think, to wrap up the championship segment. Obviously not the most jam-packed we've ever done, but I think Leicester at 1.6 away at Birmingham is something you can't really turn down. Since the championship has began and kind of changed from Division 1, this is the best start in history from a team at this stage in Leicester City. Their away record this season is unbelievable. They've played 10, they've won 8 of them, drew 1 and lost just 1. And Birmingham, they haven't won any of their last 5 games against Leicester. Birmingham, relatively strong at home for sure when you look at it statistically. So they have also played 10 and they've won 5, drew 4, lost 1. So for sure, no pushovers at home. But I think a lot of the heavy lifting on that is John Eustace. And Wayne Rooney has managed to get some results at home, but their last home game was a 0-0 draw with Rotherham, who were managerless at the time, worst team in the league. And, you got to be 50 times better than that to get anything against this Leicester team. They are absolutely rampant. So, I'm more than happy to take Leicester on at 1.6.
Yep, agreed. Let's go into League One then. There's much more on offer in League One this weekend. I think this is a great league for betting for a change. I'll dive in with Peterborough, priced at 1.72 away at Fleetwood. This is one of my favourite bets, I think, of the weekend. Peterborough generally very good. They're chasing the automatic promotion places, just 1 point off at the moment. They're sat in 4th in the league, scoring plenty of goals with their exciting, young, vibrant side that they've got. scored at least 2 goals in 5 of the last 6 games, winning 4 of those games. And they're going away to a Fleetwood side who, I'm afraid to say it, Streaky Lee is back, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Managed Fleetwood, managed by Lee Johnson, who is famously streaky in terms of going on winning streaks, then going on losing streaks. He's currently well on a losing streak. They've won. Sorry, they've not won. They've lost 5 in a row. 3-0, 3-0, 4-0, 3-0, and 3-0. So this is a side who haven't scored in 5 consecutive games across all competitions, not conceded less than 3 goals in each of those games. So if you concede in 3 to your Northamptons, 4 to Cambridge, I just think when this free scoring Peterborough side come to town, this could get very messy for Fleetwood if it continues in the same vein for me.
Massively, yeah. One of the bets of the weekend for sure. I think a lot of people will be lumping on. Let's talk about Stevenage. They're priced at 1.6. They're starting to be priced up as if they were third in the league. They are third in the league. I think they're getting their kind of respect now. I think those big prices we were getting on Stevenage is kind of fading away as they kind of continue to stick towards the top. They're playing against an Exeter team. So this is third against 20th, which is obviously attractive on the face of it. But when you dive into recent form and home form and away form, it gets a lot better. Stevenage on a great run at the moment. They've won their last 2. They've won 4 of their last 6, the other 2 being draws. Exeter are 1 win in their last 6, 3 without a win at the moment. And Stevenage at home, 4 wins. I'd love it to be more because there's 5 draws at home, which does scare me a bit, but just 1 defeat. Jamie Reid with 13 goals this season is one of the top goal scorers in League One. That's in 20 games. So he's fit and firing. So I'm feeling good about that. This should be a routine home win at 1.6.
Yep. Okay. I like it. For me, the old favourites of the podcast recently, Bolton, they're at home to Bristol Rovers. They're priced at 1.58 for the victory this weekend. I just think Bolton, we've tipped them so many times over the last month or so. They've not let us down once, I'm sure. They're on a nice little winning run at home. They've won 6 consecutive home matches across all competitions, conceding just 2 goals across those 6 victories. Generally score plenty of goals recently at home. In those last 5 matches, those 5 of those wins, they've scored 4 on one occasion, 7 on another occasion, 5 on an occasion after that as well. So generally full of goals at home. And I appreciate you know, we spoke about this before we came on air. You raised that Matt Taylor was now in charge of Bristol Rovers, unbeaten in his 2 games. Appreciate that. The first one being a draw against Cheltenham, then the second one a win against League 2 Crewe, 4-2 in the FA Cup. But I just think Bolton's a different kettle of fish, really. Cheltenham, one of the lower teams in this division. League 2 Crewe, so win against lower league opposition. This is a whole different ballpark and a whole different test, I think, for Matt Taylor and Bristol Rovers. If they pass it and they get something from this game, massive kudos for them. I'll sit up and pay attention. But for me, Bolton to continue their very strong home form.
Yeah, I totally agree. Next one, I'm going to move into reads really well. We've got the second best team over the last 8 games against the second worst. And that's Derby County against Wycombe Wanderers. It feels like Derby have finally woke up and decided that they are going to stick with Paul Warne and they are going to try and get promoted. They were so untouchable. The kind of first chunk of the season, they were so unreliable. But they've won 4 in a row. They've won 5. And they've won 5 matches in the league in a row as well. They are playing against a Wycombe team with Matt Bloomfield in charge. They've slipped down to 15th. I think it was always going to be a transitional period about Gareth Ainsworth, but I think they would be expecting a little bit more than this. A 1-0 defeat against Shrewsbury last time out, not what you want to see. And in the league, Wickham haven't scored in their last 3 games, and that's against Barnsley, Morecambe, and Shrewsbury. This is a really bad time to be going to Pride Park, or whatever they've sold their soul to now, the iPro or whatever. But Derby, their home form doesn't read well because of the start of the season that they had, but they're on their way and they should win this game. They are priced at 1.5.
Yeah, I agree again. Just to end our little run of short price favourites, I'm going to go for Wigan at 3.0 in their game away at Port Vale.
Yes, this is it.
Yeah, Port Vale are struggling, aren't they? They did win their last game in the league, but prior to that, they hadn't won for 11 consecutive League One matches. So just one win in 12 League One matches. It's a very poor run of form. At home in the league, they've lost 5 on the spin. So performing poorly, as that run suggests. And Wigan, quite the opposite, really. Unbeaten in 9 consecutive games. No goals conceded for the last 4 games. Just starting to inch their way up the table now, away from the relegation zone after their points deduction, comfortably in mid-table. And, with the form they're in, eyeing up the top half and potentially a playoff push in the second half of the season if they can continue this form. But yeah, for me, Wigan not being priced like a team unbeaten in 9 away at a team who have lost 5 on the bounce at home.
Longest League One segment of the season, potentially, because we're still not done. I'm going to look at Blackpool. They are 1.85 away at Cambridge. Cambridge recently appointed Neil Harris, and very similar to the Bristol Rovers news, Neil Harris has come in and he's overseen a 2-2 in his first game against Charlton away. So that's all fine and good. It's a solid start. But he's playing against a Blackpool team who are also kind of in that promotion mix. They're 8th at the moment and eyeing up a playoff spot. Now, they have only won 2 in 9 on the road, Blackpool. But one of those 2, when I was doing my research, was last time out when they beat Portsmouth 4-0. So, yes, there aren't many away wins to go against. But if that's not a sign of, things turning around and Blackpool, translating some of that good home form where they've lost only 3 in 12 to the road, then I don't know what is. 1.85, I think, is a really good price. Completely aware that the new manager bounce fans might not like this one, and it does come with an element of risk. But this game played 10 times. Blackpool wins 7 at least for me, so 1.85.
Yep. Okay, cool. Any more in League One, or shall we move now to League Two?
No, ready for League Two.
Yeah, League Two is kind of being replaced at the moment by League One. It's my favourite league to bet on.
Agreed.
We've had a lot of fun in League Two and a lot of profit from League Two, but some of the favourites are starting to falter a little bit, and I can't go with them at the short prices that they continue to be at the moment, with a couple of exceptions that we'll go through. But I'll start us off with MK Dons at home to Forest Green Rovers. MK Dons 1.64. Generally in League Two, doing pretty well under Mike Williamson since he's come in and started to turn their season around. Unbeaten in 5 league games, winning 3 of them, drawing the other 2. So wins against Bradford, Swindon, and Salford. Each of those wins, they scored at least 3 goals. So generally in the league, they're on pretty good form. They've won 2 of their last 5 home games, drawing 2, losing 1. And Forest Green just generally are pretty poor, aren't they? Away from home in the league, they've not won since the 2nd of September when they went away to Sutton. Since then, they've lost 4 and drew 1. There's a reason that Forest Green sit 23rd in the league. They're not a great side, especially away from home. And I think MK Dons can continue their good, strong form and continue their push towards the playoffs.
Yes, I agree. Stockport, They are incredibly short this weekend. They are 1.36, so we won't spend too much time on it. But I think a lot's been made of Stockport going for the all-time consecutive win record and falling at the final hurdle, so they share that record. And now they've gone 5 games without a win. Now, how many games have they played at home in the league in that time? Once. They've played on the road 3 times, and they've played an FA Cup game where they heavily rotated. That game was a 0-0 at home to Salford, a game that they would have been expecting to win, but it's a local derby, and Salford were particularly up for that one. And it's basically the perfect prey, isn't it, for Stockport? They're playing bottom of the league, Sutton, a team that's not kept a clean sheet since the 7th of October in the league. They are coming off a 3-0 win, yes, but it's against Horsham, and I am not giving them credit for that, unfortunately. This will be lambs to the slaughter. This will be Stockport back on track. Yes, it's short, but I think you'll be rewarded if you bang it in an accumulator.
Okay, cool. One more from me. It's Wrexham. They're at home to Colchester United. Wrexham again short, price at 1.36, so pretty much the same price as Stockport. But yeah, home league form pretty much fantastic since they lost 5-3 to MK Dons on opening day. Since then, they've won 4 in a row, unbeaten since that game against MK Dons. 7 wins, 2 draws from the 9 games that have followed that one. Scoring plenty of goals. They scored at least 2 goals in every single home game. And if they score at least 2 goals again here, I'm pretty confident that will be more than enough to beat a Colchester side who are very much struggling. They had a little turn in form, didn't they, Colchester, about a month or so ago. But end of November, December hasn't been good to them. They've lost 4 on the spin now, away from home. They've lost 3 on the bounce. In the league, away from home, generally struggled a lot this season. Just counting them now, they've got 7 losses from their 10 away games that they've played. So, yeah, going away to arguably the toughest place to go this weekend. And I think we'll get a very comfortable Wrexham victory again here.
Yeah, one more for me. The Dons of Wimbledon. They are quietly going about their business, aren't they? Up to 7th now in a playoff spot. Remember, for those who don't follow League 2, 7th will get you a playoff spot as opposed to the top 6 in League 1 and the Championship. At home is where they do most of their damage, for sure. But they've still won, avoided defeat, I should say, 8 times out of 10 on the road, Wimbledon. They've won 4 and drew 4 of those. And they're against the Salford team, Tom. I couldn't believe this because in my head, I think, and in a lot of people's heads, if they don't follow League 2, you kind of just assume that Salford are decent. But of course, they're down in 20th. They've played a game less. So technically, they've got the 3rd worst home record in the league. But it is tied on points with the 2nd worst team. So it's Forest Green, 7 points in 11, who are the worst. Harrogate, 8 points in 10. And Salford, 8 points in 9. So it's a really easy place to go at the moment. And Wimbledon, would you look at that? 4th best away record in the league. They are spearheaded by probably my favorite EFL player this season, Ali Al-Hamadi. He scored 10 in 18. He's basically the perfect kind of striker that you can expect to get a League 1 or lower champ move in January, and potentially, I'm going to say it now, find him in the Premier League in the next couple of years. He's on absolute fire at the moment, scoring 10 times. And yeah, Salford just haven't won their last 6 games. This is a great opportunity for Wimbledon to go there. They're priced at 2.05. So you're getting an absolute hair over evens there. But I think that's tremendous value.
Okay, yeah, cool. No more in MK Dons. No more in League 2. You can see what I'm reading for me. Shall we go into last week's bomb-proof double and give everyone a treble for this week?
Yeah, bloody hell. I didn't think the tips were ever going to end today, to be honest with you, but we did get there. So yeah, we'll have a look at last week's double, and again, it was kind of ruined by the FA Cup postponement between Forest Green and Wrexham, but still, we had Blackpool to beat Carlisle. They did the job for us. They won 3-0, and then we had Wolves at home to Forest. Obviously, we're Forest fans, and having watched Forest ship 5 at Fulham, we thought that might be on the cards again, but Forest rallied to a 1-1 draw, costing the double. And yeah, all I want for Christmas, Tom, is the treble to survive and be a 3-team bet by 5 o'clock on Saturday.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully this is the week where it survives. We're going to go for a couple of teams from League One and then one from League Two. So we're going to start with Bolton to win at home to Bristol Rovers. Then we're going to go for Peterborough to win away at Fleetwood. And finally, Wrexham at home to Colchester. The treble pays 3.7 on the nose. But obviously, if you bet with Quiff, there's always the chance that that will be supercharged and you'll get much bigger odds than 3.7. That could randomly be boosted to 13.7 or 8.0 or, anything like that. Also a great opportunity to take advantage of the bet £10, get £30 surprise bet offer as well in conjunction with the treble. And without wanting to jinx it, dare I say it, do you remember the other week we had Wrexham won handsomely for us, Bolton won handsomely for us. I think we could see Wrexham winning handsomely here, Peterborough winning handsomely, and then Bolton kind of churning one out. I think this could be hopefully a fairly routine treble. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I like it. I'm a big fan of it. So yeah, please gamble responsibly. Make sure you put the time in to research any bets you put on. Don't just trust us blind. We put some time into researching, but we by no means have all the answers. So make sure you're doing your part. But yeah, we'll now transition incredibly quickly into fantasy football and have a look at that segment of the show. I am 307th, which is just absolutely.
You've slipped into the 300s.
I'm in the threes. I'm just scrolling to the bottom now to see how many teams are in the league. Bloody hell, 336. So I'm nearly. Wow. I'm in danger of being like bottom.
Wow, that's really bad.
Yeah, it is bad. I did play my wild card last week, so I'm hoping for an upturn in form. But I suppose everyone else is doing that as well. So,
yeah. To be honest, I really looked out this week. I'm in 251st in the league, but I completely forgot to do my team. But I'd left Son as captain, so it completely worked in my favor because he got me 34 points.
Yeah, that's annoying.
It's jammy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very jammy because everyone else apart from Salah got about 2. So yeah. Happy days.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That's pretty annoying. I'd rather you kept that to yourself, to be honest.
Let's go through the top 10, shall we? Because we have a new leader at the top of the league. So from 10 to 1, we've got Kieran Gentry, Jason Courtney, Callum Lang, Ben Hankin, Ari Nagraha, Rachel Mather, Ross McQuarkadale, Mark Johnston, Mike Civils is now number 2, and the new leader is James Ingham with Jimbo FC on 1,016 points.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, congratulations to James. We'll see how long he can hold his lead for because it is very tight at the top. Only 11 points separate the top 4. So yeah, competitive league.
Yeah. So you can still join if you've got an official team with the Fantasy Premier League website. You can get the code offers. You'll need to send us a message on Twitter. That's how we can be contacted, period, really. So yeah, T_FB podcast. We're on 2.7K followers. I'd love to get to 3 by the new year, just into the new year. I feel like we put out some decent content, particularly our midweek tips, which went pretty well this midweek. The highlight being obviously the buy-in tip, which was 2.2. Quiff actually reposted our tweet saying that a lot of people were messaging them saying they were kicking themselves for not getting on. It seemed pretty straightforward after full time, as a lot of winning bets normally do. So yeah, join us, T_FB podcast.
Yeah, please do that. And if you have enjoyed the podcast, potentially made a little bit of money from it, we'd really appreciate it if you could leave a rating or review wherever you listen to your podcast. That'd be a nice little Christmas present for us. But yeah, that is pretty much everything for the pod this week. Once again, shout out to our partners at Quiff. Please do check them out and supercharge your bets. But yeah, be profitable this weekend. Send us in your bet slips. Gamble responsibly as ever. And we'll be back with another podcast same time next week.